Right folks, I said I was going to do this one yesterday, I said I was going to record it today. Time beat me yesterday. Van Halen. Many of you may not know them, but if you're watching this video, I'm sure you all will. Said I was going to mention Van Halen today. For me, an absolutely phenomenal band. Absolutely loved them. Again, for me, one of the greatest two, debut LPs I've ever heard in my lifetime. I've got 4 LPs now, 4. One of the greatest 4. 3 of them are rock, one's nothing like, so I'm not going to mention the others at this stage. Anyway, seeing them in, I think it was in about 78, supporting Black Sabbath. I've mentioned that on here before. They were out of this world, absolutely out of this world. They toured in the debut LP at the time, which was sensational, as I say, one of the best I've ever heard, maybe even the best I've ever heard as a debut LP. Unbelievable. They blew Black Sabbath away at a time when Black Sabbath were at the height of the popularity. For a change, Sabbath didn't mess with the sound, and they let them sound as they should. I think probably because Sharon Osbourne had nothing to do with Sabbath at that time. Van Halen was sensational, as I say. Sabbath were good, but not as good as Van Halen. And Van Halen only did about 40 minutes. The best warm-up act I've ever seen in my lifetime anyway. Seen them, thought they were brilliant. Thought, can Van Halen be as good live? That's Eddie, by the way, the guitarist. He was as good or better. And I thought, Lee Roth can't be anywhere near as good as he sounds live. And he wasn't probably quite, but some of the things that comes out of his mouth that get transported, that go onto record, I think they're probably things that a normal human being couldn't do. So there's some work done in the background there to make them sound as they do. But that said, I'm not knocking him. He was sensational. My memory's crap, I forget loads and loads of things. I say that regularly on here. I don't know what it is, but it's been bad for 20, 30 years. There's only certain things I remember. Now, going ahead about 20, 25 years, way after Lee Roth has left Van Halen, I see Lee Roth with his own band in Manchester, probably about the time of the Yankee Rose LP, I think it was, Skyscraper and all that kind of stuff. I think Just Like Paradise had recently come out, or a wonderful single. Look forward to meeting him like I can't tell you. Now, David has always been mad as a box of frogs. We all know that. We know that 100%. And we know he's lived the life. But I still thought and hoped, although I'd read his voice wasn't what it used to be, that he would be still pretty good. It could be the worst concert I've ever seen. I never left early, but I wanted to. I liked him, so I stayed. I like him, should I say. And I've got a kinship to Van Halen, so I stayed till the end. But it was woeful. His voice was shot. It was shocking. But it wasn't so much that his voice was shot. He was talking in riddles. It was all weird. It was like, you'd say he was on the stage drunk, but I don't think he was. But maybe he was on substances that made him sound and act and look and seem weird. It was just weird. Anyway, to that end, I've seen the odd bit of concert footage from the last 20 odd years on YouTube, just bits. And every time I see it, I think, good God, they'd still be a great band, but Lee Roth, he just can't sing anymore. It's all noises. He prances around still, but not like he used to. He can't do some of the high kicks and some of the things he used to do. He's not quite as acrobatic as he used to be, but then again, he's older, so he gets a pass on that. But he's strutting the stage, and that's basically the most, just strutting. And he doesn't sing his songs. He talks a lot of the parts that he can't do anymore, and there's lots of parts he can't do. But some of the bits he does sing, you're thinking, that's bad, because it's just like shouting. It's shouting and screeching, and it's awful. Anyway, I see a video about 3 or 4 days ago on YouTube. I think it was filmed in Japan in about 2003, 2004 when they got back together. And I seen it. I watched 2 minutes of a song. It was awful. I forwarded another 50 minutes in and watched another minute, awful. 50 minutes in again, awful. So I did bits of 3 songs, and all of them were absolutely woeful. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't know why you went back to Van Halen. I don't know why you didn't give up. I don't know why he's still trying to be relevant and do something in music, because he can't do it anymore. There's no doubt about that. And then I happened to see something on that there YouTube, I think on Friday night. We're now on Sunday tea time, Friday night. For anybody that likes Van Halen, what was it called? The channel was Speedy. The channel that it was put out on, the YouTube channel was Speedy. That's what it's called. It was put out 4 months ago, and it's some footage from 1978. I think it says September the 8th, 78, and it's filmed in America. So no doubt it's on the same tour that I've seen them in England. If they came to England that year, because it was about that year I saw them, it's probably the same tour. They're probably again supporting Sabbath, because as you see them performing, they only do a 40-minute set, and you can see the drums are well forward, and they've got the big sheet out at the back with the name on, and I think behind that is probably the Sabbath gear. Now the footage is really, really bad. Some of the sound on it's really bad. The vocals are muted, so it's been done from in the audience. It's obviously like a bootleg kind of thing, and obviously it's been done in '78. So what we did 46 years ago. So the quality is going to be bad, but even from it, you can still hear firstly the brilliance of Van Halen, the band, and obviously you can see Eddie's prowess. But more than that, you can hear Dave, Diamond Dave as was, still sounding great. Again, not quite as good as the record, but there's, as I say, things on that record that I think a normal human voice couldn't do. But still, for all the sound is pretty poor on it, you can hear that there's a vocalist there. And I thought, yeah, that's the Diamond Dave I remember. When he was strutting it about the stage, he was relevant and he sounded brilliant. There was no vocalist like him at that time. There's never been since. He was just a different kind of vocalist from anybody else. But at that time, he could cut it. So I'm pleased to have watched that video on Friday night. So for all it was in poor quality, but to realise that I was right about what I thought in, I think it was 78, this was a band. Even live they could do it. As I say, they toured that LP, which for my money was probably the best WLP I've ever heard. I'd definitely say in the top 4. And they toured it just like the LP. It was absolutely brilliant. If you're watching the video, the last one up I think is the You Really Got Me. The sound's even worse on that. The sound's woeful. But that's probably just the age of the recording, I would guess. But if you get a chance to watch it, folks, you're a Van Halen fan, have a look. If you've seen them in the past, let me know what you think. If you've seen them more recently, before obviously Eddie's death and they stopped touring, tell me what you think of the more recent shows. If you've seen them in the late 70s, early 80s, like me, do you think they were the monsters that I think? Well, I know that they were. In my eyes, they were monsters. They were a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful band. Unfortunately, as I say, Dave's voice checked out on him. I think not long after Dave checked out on Van Halen, and that was the issue. And when they got back together again, I was praying for them getting back together. That was always a band. I hoped they'd get back together again and they'd tour Great Britain again. I really wanted to see them again. And after seeing the more recent footage in the early 2000s, do you know what? I'm pleased they didn't come back to England. I'm pleased I didn't see them again, because it would have spoilt everything that I remember as a young kid in '78.